In this video, we are going to learn about empty set, finite and infinite sets, universal and subsets, equal sets, and disjoint sets. Let us first start with empty set. Write the set A is a set of elements x such that x is a natural number smaller than 2 in roster form. The set A is given in set builder form. We want to write that in roster form, right? So A is a set of elements x such that x is a natural number smaller than 2. What are the natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, right? These are natural numbers. But this particular set has elements that are natural numbers at the same time smaller than 2, meaning it is going to have only 1 as the element, right? Natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. And this particular set A is going to have only one element, that is x equal to 1. So let's write the set. In the roster form, you write A as the set containing elements only 1, right? When you write elements of a set in between curly brackets, you say that it is the roster form, right? That's why you can say that this one is the roster form for set A. Let us now look at another set. Write the set B, which is a set of elements x such that x is a natural number smaller than 1 in the roster form. Okay, B is a set containing elements that are natural number, at the same time they are smaller than 1. Okay, you know what are the natural numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Are there any natural numbers smaller than 1? No, right? The natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and so on. Out of that, no natural number is smaller than 1, right? Because there is nothing appears here. So no natural number is smaller than 1 exists. For that reason, you say that roster form of the set B is simply open the curly bracket and close it without having any elements, because there are no elements which satisfy this requirement, right? It has to be a natural number, at the same time it has to be smaller than 1. There are no elements. For that reason, set B has no elements, right? Set B has no elements. It means set B is an empty set. Please note this. A set containing no elements is called an empty set or null set or void set. Please remember this definition. A set containing no elements is called empty set. Okay. So B is an empty set, right? That is denoted using, empty braces, set of braces with no elements in between, right? Otherwise, there is another way to represent. People write phi. This is Greek letter phi. Okay. If you want to say that B is an empty set, you simply write B equal to phi. Or B equal to, pair of brackets is also representing empty set. Or if you say B equal to phi, that is also representing empty set. Understood? Now, the number of elements of empty set, we know it is 0, right? That is mathematically represented as n of phi is equal to 0. Here phi denotes empty set. The number of elements of empty set is 0. When you have n bracket something like A, it says number of elements in set A. Understood? Since the set is denoted using phi, the empty set is denoted using phi, the number of elements in set phi is equal to 0. Understood? Now let us look at finite and infinite sets. Write the set. The set definition for A is given in set builder form, that says that it is a set of elements x such that x is a natural number smaller than 10. Right? What are the natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and so on, right? But the second requirement is the natural number has to be less than 10, meaning you will be having these 9 elements: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, this particular set A is going to have all these 9 elements. You can write set A in roster form by writing all these 9 elements in between curly brackets, right? That's what I have done here. Roster form for set A is this. Okay. Now, if you look at how many number of elements are there in this set, number of elements of set A, I already mentioned that you can write it as n of A, that is equal to 9, right? A set having countable number or finite number of elements is called finite set. Okay, 9 elements is a countable number, right? 10 elements is a countable number. 20 elements is a countable number. 10,000 elements is a countable number. But if you have infinitely many, then you cannot count, right? Other than that, whatever you have, the finite number or countable number of elements in a set, then that set is called finite set. It means set A is a finite set. Understood? Now let's look at infinite set. Here set B definition is given in set builder form. Set B is a set of elements X such that X is a natural number. Let's write this in roster form. To write that in roster form, we should know what are the natural numbers, right? What are the natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. There is no limit to it. It can go up to crores, tens of crores, thousands of crores, millions of crores, hundreds of crores, thousands of crores, crores of crores, or something like that. If you sit and start writing natural numbers, how many days ever you write continuously without stopping, you will be able to write few more numbers, right? Or many more numbers. So can you count these? So roster form is fairly simple. You can write all the elements, whatever you can write, and in between curly brackets. B, I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on in between curly brackets. So that is the set B definition in roster form, right? Now look at this. Set B has uncountable number of elements, right? Because natural numbers, how many natural numbers are there in the, it is infinitely many, right? Meaning uncountable number of natural numbers are there. All those numbers are going to be elements of this particular set, right? That's why set B has uncountable number of elements. When a set contains uncountable number, okay, or infinite number of elements, then that particular set is called infinite set. You understood the difference between finite and infinite set? Finite set has countable number or finite number of elements, whereas infinite set has got uncountable number of elements or infinite number of elements. Understood? That's why we can say that set B in this particular example is an infinite set. Understood? Now let us look at universal set and subsets. Before that, let us understand how to use diagrams to represent sets. Here A is a set given in set builder form, right? It says that A is a set of elements X such that X belongs to N and X is an odd number less than 10. When you say X belongs to N, it means X is a natural number, right? Meaning the numbers are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. There is no limit to it. But there is another requirement here in the set definition. It says that X is an odd number and less than 10. Okay. So let's find what are the elements of this particular set. Okay. X can be 1 because that is odd number. Then 2 is not there. 3 can be X. 4 is not there, 5 is there, and 6 is not there, then 7 is there, 9 is there. 10 cannot be there because it is even number, that is 1. And second thing is, we don't want to have 10 or greater than 10, right? We want to have odd numbers less than 10, right? That's why the elements of this particular set are going to be 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Then in the roster form, when you write it as all the elements, you write in between curly brackets, right? So A is a set of elements 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. That is what exactly it is when it is given in set builder form, right? Now look at this. I can represent this in diagrams, using diagrams. How are we going to do? Let me write natural numbers. Okay, so many natural numbers are there, right? 1 to 12 only I have written, but you can write many more. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle or a closed curve around these elements 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9, right? Set A now is pictorially represented by drawing a closed curve including all the elements of set A, right? By drawing a closed curve around all the elements of set A, I am representing set A in the pictorial fashion, right? Using the diagram, I am able to show now set A. Till now, we have written sets in set builder form and roster form, right? Now we learn to, pictorially represent the sets. Got it? Let's look at another set. Set B here is defined as it is a set of elements x such that x belongs to n and x is an even number less than 10. Okay, first thing is x belongs to n, meaning x is a natural number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and so on. You write like that. And then there is another requirement, x is an even number less than 10, meaning 1 is not there, 3 is not there, 5 is not there, 7 is not there, 9 is not there and 10 is also not there because we want to have less than 10. So we are going to look at up to this. So what are those? Now even numbers less than 10 are going to be 2, 4, 6 and 8, right? These are the 4 elements that are part of set B. So let me write set B in roster form. Okay, it is a set containing elements 2, 4, 6 and 8, right? Now I can represent set B also in the pictorial form by drawing a curve, closed curve around those 4 elements 2, 4, 6 and 8, right? Set B is now represented by drawing a closed curve or, in this case it is oval shaped thing around the numbers 2, 4, 6 and 8 which are the elements of set B, right? These diagrams are called Venn diagrams. Please note this. When you draw these kind of circles or ovals or rectangles to represent certain sets, you call those diagrams as Venn diagrams. Understood? Now let us understand about universal set and subsets. Let us consider a situation that your school cricket team has to be selected. Okay. Let's say that your school has got total 500 students. Okay. So if you want to represent these 500 students using set in pictorial fashion, you can draw like this, right? Set of all students of the school, the name given is S. S is a set of all the students of the school. Okay, you may be having elements of S can be roll numbers, class numbers or names, doesn't matter. Okay, pictorially I can represent using a closed curve, something like this or something like circle or something like rectangle, okay, or square, doesn't matter. But I am representing this using rectangle for a reason. You will understand that. So S is a set, okay, containing all the student names of in your school. Okay, now you want to get your school cricket team selected. right? We know that cricket team is going to have 11 players. It means out of these yes are 500 people, we have to select 11 people, right? For example, if I represent those 11 people names using set C, okay, set C can be written as some 11 names. Here in set S you have 500 names, in set C we have 11 names. Now set C can also be represented in a pictorial fashion, right? Let me do that. Set C is represented using a circle. For example, if you write all these 11 people names, it comes here. Rest of the names will be outside set C circle. Understood? Now, you can say one more thing. All these 11 people who are there in set C are part of set S, right? For that reason, you say that set C is a subset of set S, right? In the picture, when you see set C is part of set S, right? Set S is a bigger rectangle and set C is a smaller circle within the bigger rectangle, right? That's why you say that set C is a subset of set S. Understood? So mathematically it is represented as C is a subset to S. This is subset symbol. When you write something like this, it is subset. Okay. C is a subset of S. Understood? And set of students here in this particular case, S is used to represent the set of students, right? In the school, that is called universal set because you are not going to have any more. Okay, we have 500 students. Beyond that, we are not going to worry about currently for this particular problem, right? That's why this is called universal set. Set S is called universal set, and typically universal set is represented using Greek symbol mu. Okay, instead of writing S, I can write it as mu also. Understood? What is universal set and what is subset? You understood? Let's look at real numbers. Okay, you have learnt about real numbers already. We can quickly recall and see how real numbers picture can be represented using sets. Okay. The numbers that are used to count objects are called natural numbers, right? Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. When you have 0 and natural numbers together, those numbers are called whole numbers, right? Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on, right? You have whole numbers which are all positive numbers. When you have negative numbers like -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on, whole numbers, those are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, and -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on put together are called integers, right? Integers are denoted using letter Z here. Now, we know integers, okay? And if you write ratio of certain integers like 1/2, 3/4, -3/4 and so on, integers and ratios of integers put together are called rational numbers, right? Rational numbers are represented using Q. Q means, actually rational numbers means these are the numbers that can be written in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers, right? And we know that there are certain class of numbers called irrational numbers. These numbers cannot be written in the form of P by Q, right? So those numbers are called irrational numbers and denoted using Q prime, right? We know that rational numbers and irrational numbers put together are called real numbers, right? Do you know any other numbers than real numbers? That's why for real numbers you can represent using a rectangular shape. Okay, rest of the things I have represented using ovals, but you can show them as circles also, right? But anyway, now let us take a look at the same picture in the context of sets. Okay, now you see here real numbers is the universal set, right? Because you don't know beyond anything. Beyond real numbers, you don't know anything. But in intermediate, you will be learning about imaginary numbers, complex numbers and all. For time being, R is the universal set for you, right? Let me write mu here. Okay, now you see Q, that is rational numbers, it is part of real numbers, right? That's why Q is a subset of R, right? Rational numbers, which is shown using this oval, is a subset of real numbers. That's why you can write it as Q is a subset of R, right? And Q prime is also subset of R, right? Because Q prime is having, it is part of real numbers, right? It is not completely real numbers, meaning it is not only the real numbers, it is part of certain class of real numbers are called irrational numbers. That's why Q prime is a subset of R, right? You see, within rational numbers, if you look at integers is part of rational numbers, right? For that reason, I can write it as Z is a subset of Q, right? Z is a subset of Q means I can write it as Z is a subset of Q and Q is a subset of R, or otherwise I can write it as Z is a subset of R also, right? Now, let's look at the next one. W, that is whole numbers, is subset of integers, right? Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Okay. Integers have got many more numbers, -1, -2, -3 and so on, right? So when you look at that set of numbers, you can say that whole numbers is a subset of Z, right? And natural numbers is going to be another subset. Sorry, natural numbers is going to be subset of whole numbers, right? Because natural numbers comma 0 put together is W. Understood? So, 0, for example, if you have only something like this is a subset of W, and N, set of N is also a subset of W, right? Look at this. W is subset of Z, Z is subset of Q, Q is a subset of R, right? I can write it as W is a subset of R, W is subset of Q. Understood now? The concept of universal set and subset. Universal set is always represented using a rectangle or square shape. Okay. Remaining sets, which are subsets to universal set, can be represented using circles or ovals. Got it? Let us further understand about subsets. Consider set C, which has got elements 1, 3 and 5, right? And set B, which has got elements 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let us now observe, 1 belongs to C. 1 is an element of set C, and at the same time it is an element of set B also, right? That's why I write it as 1 belongs to C and 1 belongs to B. Similarly, if you look at 3 belongs to C and 3 belongs to B also, right? And 5 belongs to C and 5 belongs to B, right? When you look at 2 belongs to only B and 4 belongs to only B, right? But we are not really bothered about that. For time being, you see all the elements of set C are part of set B also, right? Every element of set C is an element of set B, right? 1 is an element of set C and it is also part of set B. 3 is also same and 5 is also the same, right? Every element of set C is an element of set B. For that reason, you say that set C is a subset of B. Got it? Suppose you have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, this is your set B. Okay, in what I can do is 1, 3, 5 I can put together and write it as set C. So when you look at this, C is part of B, right? That's why you can say that C is a subset of B. And mathematically it is written as shown here. C is subset of B. And please note this, P is an empty set or null set. That's what we learned already, right? So remember this, since phi has no elements, or since the null set has no elements, it is considered to be the subset to every set. Please note this. Phi is a subset of any set which has got elements. Okay, let's say you have 1, 2 or something like that. Okay, then P is a subset of any of the sets you consider. Okay, and for mathematical reasons, it is also said that phi is a subset to itself. You can write it as phi is a subset to phi itself. Okay, you will understand why we are doing this as we go. Now we have seen universal sets and subsets also. Now let us understand equal sets. Consider a set that has got elements 1, 3, 5. It is called set A, and set C has got elements 5, 3 and 1. Now observe these two sets. Then you can say that 1 belongs to A and C also, 3 belongs to A and C, and 5 belongs to A and C, right? Meaning all the elements of set A are present in set C. Every element of set A is an element of set C. When you have similar scenario earlier, we have written that A is a subset of C, right? A is a subset of C because every element of A is present as an element in set C. So A is a subset to C. Now look at this. Every element of C, 5, 3 and 1, they are present, right? 5, 3 and 1. Every element of set C is an element of set A, right? Every element of set C is an element of set A, means C is a subset of A. Understood? We can write it as C is a subset of A. Now you see, A is a subset of C and C is a subset of A. Why it is possible? Because set A and set C have same elements. Set A has elements 1, 3, 5 and set C also has elements 1, 3, 5, right? Since these two have same elements, we can write them as set A equal to set C equal to the set containing elements 1, 3, 5, right? It means set A is equal to set C. Actually, you can say that these two sets, set A and set C, are equal sets. So please note this, if every element of set 1 is an element of set 2 and every element of set 2 is an element of set 1, then set 1 and set 2 are equal sets. Understood? Here, because A is having 135 and C is also having 135 only, for that reason A is equal to C. Otherwise, you can say that A and C are equal sets. Understood? Now, another point you have to make a note here is, if A is a subset of C and C is a subset of A, it means that A is equal to C. Understood? A is a subset of C and C is a subset of A. When this can happen? When both the sets have the same elements as given here, 1, 3, 5. Okay, A is equal to C. Every set is subset to itself. Why we are saying is, for example, A is equal to C I have written, and here C is a subset of A, right? Since A equal to C, I can write it as C is a subset of C, right? Or otherwise I can write it as A is a subset of A. That is the reason precisely why we said that empty set or null set is a subset of itself, right? We said that phi is a subset of phi. Understood? Now you have understood about equal sets also. Let us look at disjoint sets. What are disjoint sets? Let us consider two sets here. Set A has got elements 1, 3, 5 and 7, and set B has got elements 2, 4 and 6, 8. Right? no common elements present in set A and set B because these are all 4 odd numbers. These are all even numbers, right? When you represent this in a pictorial form, you get a Venn diagram like this. Set A has got elements 1, 3, 5 and 7, all odd numbers. And set B got elements 2, 4, 6, 8, all even numbers, right? There is no common element present in sets A and B. The sets having no common elements are called disjoint sets. Please note this. The sets having no common elements are called disjoint sets, and in this particular case A and B are disjoint sets. Okay, so when you represent disjoint sets in pictorial form, you will never have these circles overlapping. You are not going to have something like this. These circles are going to be staying away from each other. That is the idea of disjoint sets. Understood? I hope you like the video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel Learn to Score. Thank you.